piece of the Fed's latest senior loan officer survey. Now, this came out on Monday. Should have been in the papers and been talked about on Tuesday, but we were watching other things. The results are pretty striking. You would expect that from an economy in a recession, but this is worse than all categories. Banks are reporting both tighter lending standards and sliding demand for new loans, and nowhere more so than in mortgages, both qualifying and otherwise, where demand has collapsed to depression levels as a result of the fastest ever surge in interest rates.
Oh, boy.
So I want you to look at this carefully. C&I loans, they're commercial and industrial loans, while they're still doing okay, and demand for credit card debt is at near record highs, to be expected at a time when revolving credit debt is soaring at the fastest pace in history. Record, adjustable mortgage rates be damned. It's only a matter of time before these two core credit categories follow the mortgage loan demand into purgatory, at which point the U.S. economy will be a complete disaster. You should not lose yourself in the fight for national politics. This is going to be a local issue with all of us, and we will survive if locally we are together and your state is together. It's going to come down to the states. All right. This morning about the count in Arizona and elsewhere, and so we brought John Gabriel, who Stu is kind of leaning on a little bit in the count down. Stu, I have to say before we go in, you were the most pessimistic of anybody. And
what a surprise.
I know. And I mean, this is what I pay you. You are probably the closest out of anyone that was making any kind of prediction, but still you look like you were even maybe too optimistic.
On Pennsylvania, I just thought human beings wouldn't really do this. That was kind of my thought on Pennsylvania, and they did. I was wrong on that one for sure. Yeah. John,
oh, great to be on again.
Yeah, John, it's interesting to watch the last 24 hours. We were talking yesterday. We had some optimism over Kari Lake, maybe Blake Masters. The votes that came out yesterday, it seems to me not as good as expected in Arizona. Is that your impression as well?
Well, I thought they would be a little, but I thought they would be including election day votes. And what they did is they're still counting these votes that came in prior to election day. Apparently they have other things on their schedule. They're a little busy lately. And
yeah, maybe go for a latte. What the hell are they doing?
Oh, man, they need self-care days. That's the thing. Spend today, at least they say, but today they're actually going to be coming out with a vote on election day. It only happened Tuesday. It only takes them this long. It's just insane. But the people of Arizona are upset at the county and the county officials and the state. People counting all the votes here are very upset and demanding change, and you're seeing that now even from the left saying, but really, what's taking so long? I think Hobbs is going to lose her lead very quickly. I think it'll be by the end of the day. It'll be gone, and I think Lake is cruising to victory. I still am not Masters, but boy, it's on a nice edge, that's for sure. Whoever wins, it'll be a game of inches, not yards.
So you're still standing by what happened yesterday, what we talked about yesterday, and Kari Lake said she's convinced she's going to win because of the way they count the votes. That is historically accurate. It didn't happen yesterday because she said, you watch tonight, it'll start changing. Well, we watched and it didn't change. And you're saying that's because they didn't count any of the votes she were going to be releasing.
Exactly. Yeah, she's exactly right on that. Both of us thought, and really, what they usually do is they start reporting by clearing out the backlogs of the old votes. And those are always far more pro-Democratic Party than Election Day votes. And as far as Election Day votes go, we're talking 65% going to Kari Lake, up to 75%. So the second they actually count votes from Election Day, which you'd think they would have done on Election Day, then this is going to turn around. So I really do. She has every reason to be confident. I think she's got this slow procedure that our betters in government have created to count the votes as slowly as possible.
So has Katie Hobbs come out and said anything about the procedure? Because she is the this is her gig.
Yeah, you would think she would do an embarrassed the buck stops here tweet, but you would be wrong. That's not who Katie Hobbs is. Instead, she's complaining about Lake pushing conspiracy theories account, which we can all see with our eyes. She's not taking any responsibility for this, and as Secretary of State, she's the one in charge. She's the one who approved the election machines that weren't operating correctly on Election Day, and she is in charge of all these processes and procedures that have led us to this, once again, becoming a national punchline and not changing the system like Florida did after 2000, which, they've already blazed a path. All we need to do is mimic what they did, and this would be fixed tomorrow.
John, the two excuses I've heard from Arizona, Maricopa County, is one, the ballot was really long this time. Like, I guess it was like a CVS receipt. I don't know. It's just. And then we also heard that a lot of voters, probably skeptical of mail-in voting, probably Republicans, came to the ballots, their mail-in ballot, like came to the actual polling places and turned it in on the day of the election. Instead of mailing it in advance or voting in the voting booth, they decided to vote early but then show up on that day. Is there real evidence that this was a problem?
I don't see how this could be a problem. Yes, that is their excuse, but I think these vote counting officials and elections management people should stop complaining about the unruly peasants wanting them to do their job fast and fix the problem. That's been the problem the past 2 years, is they will just make cracks and make jokes about, oh, you crazy tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy. If you want to reassure people in a very low trust environment, which our politics, and they have refused to, and they deserve all the feedback and blowback that they've been getting on this. They blew it once again.
I think this is an important point to make at this point. No, there are no charges, credible charges at least, that show that new ballots are being added or anything else. It's just the slow counting, correct?
Exactly, yeah.
That's important.
Confident bureaucrats can be, especially when they're just in their privileged positions. They think they deserve it. This is incompetence from everything I can see now. If it turned out to be something worse, I would be the first to holler about it. Now it's looking like incompetence. Kari Lake catches up to Katie Hobbs and then surpasses her and blows out the Katie Hobbs race, which I think is the final result.
It's really interesting. If we would have had the results of Kari Lake on Tuesday night, this whole week would have been different. If she won, and Blake even won, or was just razor thin close, it would have changed the entire narrative of the week, because you would have had Rick DeSantis. Ron DeSantis. God, why do I do that? Right. Ron DeSantis and Kari Lake. You would have had two states that were saying we're headed in a different direction. That would have made a lot of difference.
And yes, how everything looks. It's kind of like if you're a fan of a West Coast football team and you're living on the East Coast, you never see the home team games. And that's kind of how the press usually treats the West. Well, if we had a competent bunch of vote counters here, we would have known election night. And we go, wow, coast to coast, GOP is winning big, and these are real conservatives who are very serious about being conservatives, not kind of the wishy-washy type we all complain about.
Correct.
It wouldn't change the national